Hello, everybody. Let's see, let's get everything set right. How you doing? My name's John Skippy Limcool. Welcome to a new live stream. We have all sorts of fun stuff to play with today. My goodness. Unify 1.1 is out. Yay! We are at Unify version 1.1.3. And it is a good day. Let me see what's going on in our lovely chat. Hopefully some of you guys are there hanging out already. There you go. Welcome, welcome. Unify Club members. Yes, you guys are known as GuruNation, just so you know. That is your dedicated moniker. Hey, Michael De Palma, nice to see you. In the Bronx. Wow, you got lots of stuff going on there, my friend. Be safe. But don't be silent. Braxton, hey. Hi guys, welcome. Good to see you all. I have some treats for you. I have a bonus library you guys get to download for free. Pretty cool, huh? Let's see, where do you want to go? We want to do some sort of cool thing. Let's go CloudCity for a minute. I just want to play for a minute. Let's go here and hold this. Click a button. Shane is in the house. Big E, my neighbor over in Beaverton, is in the house. Good to see you guys. Let's go over here. Let's add some Sacred Earth. See what that sounds like. Hey, PlugInGuru is live, it says. Cool. I subscribe to my own channel, isn't that nice? So good to see you all. Welcome. Oh, yeah. We got something interesting going on here. Let's go over to drums. Let's go to the standard library. Let's just say all libraries and just so that we can search anywhere. Go to BPM Drum for the 4 on the floors. Now we need something a little more energetic, so let's go over here to the BPM synth. Maybe let's add BPM toying with FM. That'd be really fun. Oh, I'm pushing the computer. Too many voices of polyphony and stuff going on. Ah! Okay. So we won't do all that much. I mean, we've got what? Like, this one alone has 16 layers in it of DX'd. So that's an awful lot to ask for my computer while I'm doing a live stream. We can play for a minute. It's behaving now. Cool. Maybe I just had a hiccup in the system. Interesting. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's something that hits and then it... I'm not sure. We got to look into that, Shane. There's something going on. I've had this happen before where after a certain period of time, something interesting. It's like a second wave hits. But anyway, welcome to you all. It's so good to see you. We did a live stream on Thursday. That was super fun. We went through the features of Unify 1.1. And we had a special guest that blew us all away. Herbie Hancock showed up on Thursday. And he bought Unify the day it came out. And I had no idea he was into this. And he was so nice. And I sent a note to him and he replied back with a really wonderful note to me that I've printed out. I'm going to print out and frame here at my house. It's so nice. Such an inspiring, I mean, he is truly the pinnacle to me of someone that has made their own path and continues to make their own path and embraces new things and thinks outside of the box and is just a monster of a musician and an incredible human on all levels. So that was a really special moment. I was really touched by that he would do that and show up and be public, you know. It's really him. So that was pretty cool. No, I don't put myself anywhere close to him, but that's very kind of you to say, guys. We didn't scare him off. No, he was totally cool. Yeah, I've been listening to him since I grew up as a little kid too. I mean, it was a super, super cool moment. And he's totally into Unify. I mean, I won't read you the whole letter or anything like that, but one thing he said was really cool is you can do unique things that you can't do anywhere else with Unify. And for him to say that to me, with everything he has access to and knows about, really was special. So that was a nice supportive boost in the arms for what we were doing here, that this is worth the effort to make it happen, right? Exactly. We are legends in our own way. Everybody has their own, you know, when you get to a certain age, you do have a history to what you're doing. Anyway, it was really, really nice. And so that was a nice afternoon to have that company show up. But Unify 1.1 has got a lot of people excited. I've gotten a lot of email from all sorts of people that are telling me how much fun they are enjoying, how powerful it is. There's so many doors open now to you guys just because of a handful of MIDI effects and the interface improvements to Unify. So let's go down the list. I have right here that same sheet from the video I released, the short version. I have a long version. I have a 45-minute version just on MidiBox that will be coming out maybe later today or tomorrow. I'm also going to make some shorter videos focused on specific how to do something, how to do this, and do stuff like that. Oh, cool, Raymond. I was like a kid in the candy shop with this. That's what we like to read. So let's go down the list of what's new. What's going on here. I also want to point out, I mentioned in the newsletter to you guys, there's the Drum Machine plugin. You'll never see it for sale because it's a little on the copyright risky side because it has samples from virtually every drum machine, including a lot that are sample based. So I don't think anybody's going to go after it, you know. What's it called? Oh, here it is. So it's it's not free pick. Hold on a second. Let me find, I didn't put it into my favorites, I don't think, or did I? Yeah, Mega Drum Machines. So let me see here. Mega Drum Machines. This is a plugin you guys can download for free. I have a little library that uses this plugin that I will put up for free with 10 new MIDI files that will work anywhere. Let's go over here. I'll put it into our chat. And I'll put it here. Download the free, what's it called? Mega Drum Machines. And what this is, here we'll end it, and I'll show this really quickly. I want you guys to get this so you can get the library. It'll be part of what we talk about. So I have made a subset where right here is my Mega Drum Machines. It is a drum machine plugin that actually it was originally a contact library you could buy. And then this guy decided, since it was successful as a contact, to just release it for free. There's a donation link on the page. Please provide the guy a donation. Say thank you. Heard about you from PlugInGuru, something like that if you can. That would be really cool. But check this out. You click right here, and there are all of these drum machines available to play. And so I made a little library, and I can provide the link now so you guys can play with this, called the JamStation Bonus. And if you're familiar with the libraries that I've done for Omnisphere that are the OMG libraries, the concept for those is that down on low C starts a drum groove, and then you can stop it. And we have a latch, a mono latch that can, right? And then I just used Shift and loaded the bass and Steinway split. But I could go over here, I could say, oh, I don't want that. I could just type up here split, set this to all, and it'll show up all the splits. I could say I want cat and mouse and have right? So it's really cool for using in this kind of way. Low C to start and stop the groove. And then there's JamStation in this library. That's a free bonus library, which instead of using the MIDI drum machines, uses just one of our normal drum kits. In the drum kit, I had to transpose it. I didn't. Oh, I transposed it here. I had to transpose it because the MIDI map, he's using the true standard MIDI map, which is an octave lower than what we use. So I transposed the parts up with the offset right here, set it place. And inside of this folder, there are 10 grooves. And I want you guys to get this so I can show you guys how to build a stack. We're going to build a stack during this video tutorial time. So I'm having trouble getting Unify to recognize Xenology. So there's a couple ways to add a MIDI file manually. Let's see, let's stop the drum groove. You can go to the plugin page right here, and down the operations, you can go select plugin files to scan. Let's go to our VST folder to Roland, and I have Xenology right here. Double click right there and it will scan it. The other way to do it is to actually open the VST plugin folder. Go VST, go to Roland, open. You're on the known plugin page right here, right? You've clicked the little plugin icon. Take Xenology, drag it over the plugin, known plugin place, and let go, and that will also scan it. And by doing that, you'll have Xenology available. If we go all companies to Roland, here's Xenology. Now this is the new plugin from the new update to Roland. They've changed how they're doing things, and oh. And here's Xenology to work with. I don't know. I'm not going to say that it's incredible. I'm not going to say that it's not worth your money. They have a subscription service that you get Xenology, and for the limited controls you get, I have a PumpHouse on this. Let's mute that. I'll do a full covering of this at some point if you guys are interested. Right? So basically, this is an optional plugin you find in the hardware of Roland synthesizers. It's now available as software. They have a lot of basics from the basic synth. I think they have D50 and all sorts of different things from their legendary synths. They are not the same ones as the plugins. This is not all of their plugins in one thing. They're not as many samples. You know, maybe they're synth legends. If you go to here's the D50 stuff. So if you want to compare that, let's duplicate this, and let's mute this one and change this to the actual D50 by company, Roland D50. Here's the, sounds so much better. Here is comparing. It's mono, it's a lower sampling rate. Maybe it's not mono. Sure sounds like it. Shane, we might have to look at this plugin. No, it's stereo. Those are stereo delays. Okay. So you can tell right away it's not the same as the plugins. So that... They have a D50 thing in here, right? Anyway, they're not the same, but it's got a whole bunch of different patches, but I'm not so sure I can recommend that as a subscription. The D50 plugin is probably the best plugin in the Roland lineup, and this nested into this subscription service, which is really unfortunate because it should be something you could just buy and have access to. If you asked for my opinion, so they're doing their subscription to get you to own the D50, which is a very expensive way to do it. So I don't agree with that. So anyway, let me give you the link to where we were at over here with JamStation, so you can download this, copy the Dropbox link. Wish it were a standard buy. Yeah, if it was a standard buy, they would sell. Oh, you can buy for $159 or $149. Oh, thank you, Woody. Good to see you, my friend. So there's the link for the Unify library that I just created, which is 2 patches. If you come over here, it's called the JamStation bonus, and it allows you to have a low C. We'll start a groove, and then the rest of the keyboard is a second layer, and right? And again, you can option click this out and then build. I could say, get rid of this, go BPM pad, go up here. Our new search engine, by the way, we now search tags, categories, and the names. So it doesn't have to be that BPM pad shows up in the name. If it's part of the tags, it is now also searched. So I could go over here and load some of the new things that are coming in CloudCity. Right? Let's go over here and add. Did you hear any clicks? That's one of the cool things we can do now. You can remove plugins. And there's no clicks. It's just gone. There's no clicks. So you can add patches anytime you want. Right? And it just plays along. It's really, really refreshing that whatever you build, in fact, I could go over to the user library. Oh, I need to refresh because I moved everything back, I believe. Yeah. Go to user library, Omnisphere. I'm gonna hold down shift. Listen, I'm gonna load in the guitar. Ready? Shift, load. First Omnisphere patch takes a second for it to do its online checks and all the things that it does, but no clicks. And now from this point on, anything I add is super fast from Omnisphere. And you have to watch volumes. I was having a discussion on one of the chats on YouTube for the video. We don't do any volume gain compensation when you add new patches. All the patches are optimized to be nice, full volume, take up the bandwidth so it sounds really nice. As you add those, you're doubling the level that's coming out of Unify. So you can use the option and you click on the volume to bring them up and down. And just watch your volume here. Make sure you put loud max. In fact, check this out. There's a preset that I made. Watch this. I'm just going to go over here to presets, master presets, the master optimizer. Listen. It gives you an EQ. A little boost on the compressor. Bring the compressor down a little bit more if you want it to touch and do a little. Let's add some from Arturia. Let's say we want to add bit pop. So I hold down shift, or here I'll show you the way to do it for when you're starting out. You right click on something. It says load into new Unify layer. And now, let's add some strings. Let's go over here, say add into Unify layer. So I've added 2 Arturia plugins. Without any clicking. So you can play with any of your, these are patches that I made. These are not part of the factory library. You can make patches and save them with any of your plugins. I could go over here and say init. I love Zebra. So let's make a really cool BPM thing with Zebra. So I go to my favorites. If you don't know about subsets, right here on instruments, there's a subset preset I made called favorites. And these are the ones that I saved, but these will only show up if you own them. If you go to your favorites, it's just a small list. It's because it's looking at my list of favorites to give you something to work with. It's real easy to say select all and remove them and start over. And go down this list and say, oh, let's see, what are my favorites? I love Zebra. So you type in Zebra, whatever you want up here, select this and say add selected, and it'll add it to the list. And you can remove from the list things that you don't own or whatever you want to do, and then hit save. And this is a preset file that now when you go here, instead of seeing the all instruments, which in my case, and a lot of you guys have a similar situation where it's like, they all have company names. They don't say the names of the plugins. You can make your own subsets. I did one all instruments, and this might not have all of what you own. So the way to fix that would be to go over here to all instruments and click it. So it says all instruments over here, and just type this VST/INST. And that way, anything that has VST/instrument in the name is listed, and select all. You then need to go through the list and remove your MIDI effects because MIDI effects get lumped in with VST instruments. But this way you can take your plugins that you own and get them into my default all instruments list that comes with Unify. This all instruments list is not a list of all instruments. It's just all instruments on my computer at the time that I created that subset. So you should make your own with your own plugins if you would like, and then make a favorites. And with the favorites, I just go here and here's the list. So I can go Zebra. I can go over here to presets, and they have all sorts of packers and stuff. We'll go to, actually, you know what? There's some really cool stuff in the Zebratron library. Maybe I want to use this. So what was that called? Tintron. I always have to pop the name up like this. This is one of my shortcuts. Go like this before you save, and then save to the user library. We'll call this Zebra 2 HS Tintron pad. So I know what it is. That's all you have to do. We don't require you to fill in any more than that. If you don't want to, you don't have to. And then oh, I I haven't updated to the new version of Zebra. He has some rhythm ones in here that I thought were really cool. I like that. So let's say I wanted to combine, oh, now I need to show the name because I always forget what the names are. And save as HS Pipe Dream. Soft. So save as, because we're saving a new patch, and save. So now inside of my user folder, if I go over here to user library, I have a couple Zebra 2 patches. Now I already have the Pipe Dream loaded. Just hold down Shift. Remember, you can right click, but right here you see these modifier keys. I can hold down Shift and click. And it's an octave off. The shortcut for transposing by octaves is to hold down that Option key and just drag up on transpose, and it goes by octaves. So you can quickly go up 4 octaves or down 4 octaves, wherever you want to go, just by using the Option key versus going one step at a time. So let's say plus 12. Let's say I want to add that BPM pop. So I hold down Shift, click, turn them all down, and then bring. And I want to add an Omnisphere patch. Let's add the Game Boy saw. So I hold down Shift and click. You know, I gotta do it. Kick. All libraries. So, seamless loading, we call it seamless play. It's a seamless way of clearing and loading patches. You can hold down the Option key. Let's get rid of this, and it goes away. There's no glitch, there's no hiccups, it just goes away. Now I'm ready to go somewhere else. I could go to the Serum library. Let's go, that would be melodic techno. Let's say BPM split. And I can hold down Shift, click triangular beats. I need to turn it down because it's gonna be really loud. I know that already. So I'm gonna bring it down like my 8 to be. And at this point I can use Option and remove my kick patch because there's one in the patch. And start playing. So it's so easy to shift and play and go anywhere you want with everything you create inside of Unify. It works with all of our patches. It will work with all of your patches to be seamless anytime you want. So where did you get Omnisphere? It's one of my patches that I saved in the user library. If you save, these are just patches I created using whatever I have here, right? I've just made an Arturia patch. So hold down Shift, add Omnisphere. I challenge you to load Omnisphere that fast any other way. It's impossible. Let's have the guitar chunky added. So we can, once the patches are saved as patches, they load faster than loading them in the actual plugins because we don't load the interface. We're not required. If you go over to Omnisphere and you double click to open, it has to load all those graphic things for all the layers of graphics and everything and do its check and all that stuff. That's how long it takes to load Omnisphere. Even right now, double clicking will take it a little bit of time, but that first time is the slow time. But changing patches is just boom and it just will load it really quickly. These are patches from OmniPulse, by the way. Hold down Shift. go over here to all libraries or CloudCity. Go to BPM pad. Let's load a Tangled, so hold down Shift and click. Good times. This is Omnipulse by itself, or this is just Unify by itself. And it sounds very nice with the Omnisphere. Oh, Mega Drum Machines. Oh, did I not put the link up? I think I put the link up. You can look in the library, in the video description, and it should be right there. There's a link to the www.autodafe.net. Here, I can paste it again. Copy. Paste. Okay, I put it into the chat so you can use that to go get it. Because in a minute, we're going to look at stacks. All right, so other stuff, obviously, that's really cool inside of Unify. Let's do this. Let's call up just a cool synth. So let's say clear all libraries synth. Go down here. We've got a lot of stuff that's tagged as synth, don't we? Exercise class 1994. Oh, this CloudCity? Yeah, this is it. So this is using MidiBox to play all sorts of cool things. If we listen to each layer, what MidiBox is doing. This is using MidiBox to play LFO patterns. You can use your sequencer, create a pattern, moving your mod wheel MIDI CC 1, and we have this special feature inside of MidiBox. Here, we can zoom in for a second for this one. We'll hit the zoom button, zoom, whoosh. And here you can see that you've got the ability to have notes played through the plugin, which MIDI effects typically block all MIDI data coming in. That's used to modify things, and then out of the MIDI effect comes new information. It typically does not let anything through, but we are able with checks boxes to let both LF, this is the notes, so that right now pitch bend's not being allowed through. Click this. My mod wheel's not being allowed through. Turn this. Be aware your mod wheel will be fighting with the pattern going on in this MIDI file because I'm using MIDI CC 1. To get around that, you could make a MIDI CC 2 or a different MIDI CC number so that you don't have to compete if you wanted to have the mod wheel available for other things. So these are allowing things to be passed through the MIDI effect, which is really cool. So we're using this to play, and there's, if you click right here, these are all different types of LFO patterns. So I could say sine wave. Here's a whole note. It sounds like a sine wave LFO, except it's a MIDI file, which was super cool. And here's your speed to speed it up. And you can multiply it here. Until it's so fast that it's just like a super fast. LFO. But it's a MIDI file. That's the fun thing with what we can do here is stuff like that. So this is doing patterns, and then you use these plus and minus buttons to cycle through. If you have a folder with a lot of presets, you can use these pluses. Let's get this back to normal. To like advanced like songs on a record player or a CD player or Spotify, whatever you're using, right? Square wave. So if you turn this into the groove, turn the whole thing down a little bit. I go here, I could say I want it to be 4 times. And it's sample tight timing. Let's say we want to go to 8 times. Times. Now there's actually, this is the negative to positive. We also have another one that's positive to negative. So that would be the one you want. So it's positive on the very beginning of the down of the. And to show you that it's accurate, Eric Linder asks, oh, let me look at my Skype question. How to create a MIDI file with CC automation. Okay, let's show you how to do that. Let's see. So let me clear up everything over here so we can bring over Logic's interface. I was just going to show you one more thing that's really cool. Check this out. If you go over here now and say 200% faster, remember, the original speed of this is 100%. But we can say 16 times. Let's try 400%. So we go over here and double click on the numbers and say 400%. And so, and it's sample accurate. The timing is incredible. The other thing that's incredible is that you can have it playing super fast like this, right? If you double click and say 100%, or just double click on the knob, it immediately jumps to where it's supposed to be in the timing cycle. So you can mess it up. Double click, and it's back. It's so cool how this works. So you can mess up the time. When you bring the, like, if you wanted to assign this to a knob, you could say right click, linked parameters, all the MIDI effect, MidiBox parameters for that synth. Let's go down here to MIDI effect. All I did is you click in the bullet up here, instrument. This is the first layer, right? It's that Klamath Power synth, MIDI effect, MidiBox, and right here is speed multiplier. And we could also, if we wanted to like this super fast, we could go over here and say we also want to modulate not the denominator, but the numerator. And now, one of the cool new features, there's a couple of things here. There's a fader here, so I can play it. When you go back to 0, it locks. 1, 2, 3. Oh, shoot, thanks. This is why it's love the tag team with Shane helping me out because I forget. So here's the numerator, denominator, modulation page. Sorry that I wasn't showing this. But you can click to add from MidiBox any of the effect parameters that are there available. The knobs, I could have, let's go to this knob right here, say link parameters. Another one that would be fun for this one would maybe be to go to MidiBox to, transpose won't work. That's about all you can do to this. It's only one measure, so, yeah, since we're doing MIDI effects, that's mainly the timing is the one you want for MIDI effects, right? But now if you want to build your own MIDI LFO, here's how you do it. All you have to do, mute MidiBox, so that, and maybe solo, whatever, if you have something complex. I'm actually going to use option. No, I'll keep everything so we can get it back to having something to play to, right? So first you need to set up Guru Sampler, turn on the low pass filter, make it nice and dark, and then modulate it so the mod wheel, make sure sustain is up. So when you move the mod wheel, you hear, this is the range. So if it's only like this and you do some MIDI CC, you're not going to hear it. You need to set the intensity of the mod wheel pretty high. Make sure lag is 0, because if this is up, this slows it down. So if you do fast moves and stuff, you won't hear them. So make sure lag is down. You have this up. I actually have a really slow fading to 0 envelope happening. Right? So that's ready. So then you go over here to your sequencer, whatever you use. It's not really a sequencer specific. And then you just, I would suggest, I do it with where I have 2 tracks. So I'm going to hold down some keys so I get 2 copies of this. One to play a note or a chord. If you want it to be 4 measures long, hold it for 4 measures. Right? And then I need to change my cycle length to be 4 measures. And then quantize this so that I have this. And then on another track, so that you don't mess up that track, I always start just recording the mod wheel. Just go over here and move your mod wheel. Or if you have a controlling surface like this, I could use this as a controlling surface. So let's do this. 1. And it recorded it, right? Now, if you have the tools inside of your sequencer and you want to get into it, if you hit the A button in Logic, this pops up automation. And if you click right here, it will change to region. Instead of to the whole track, it's just on a per region basis. Click where it says volume and here's modulation. It'll make a list of things that it's noticed and recorded. And there's my modulation that I did. And if I wanted to, I could go in and I could go like this and clean it up so that it was doing exactly what I wanted with, you know, smoother parameter steps and all that kind of stuff. And I want go to this one and have it go to here. There's, if you hold down Control and Shift, that's how you control the curvature. And I want this one here to be a cool curvature all the way back up to here. So I could go like this. So now, right? Maybe right here I want to zoom in on this part and I want this to be right on the 1. So I go like that and then maybe grab this one and have it go down to here. There. Whatever you want to do, you can do. Then delete the chord. Let's call this Dancy LFO CC1. And I select all and Command C to copy. And then in Logic, Option Command E. Oh, wait. Oh, there's some events before. Change upbeat events so that it's all on 1. Paste that name and save it. And now I've made an LFO file. So now all I have to do, I can get rid of this because I don't need this anymore. I can go back to Unify. And let's see here. Get to the Unify track. Where is Unify? There we are. And then go open this. Let's see. Unmute MidiBox so we hear it. Click in the blue. This is to open up the Finder. I'm just going to go to the desktop, and right at the very top is Dancy LFO, and it's there. So it's very, very fun to do this kind of stuff. Another thing we found we could do that's really cool with real-time MIDI file data that I hadn't thought about until like just a couple of days. I actually had been in my mind, but I hadn't done it. And that's Pitch LFO. Not Pitch LFO, Pitch EG. Pitch EG by MidiBox. Check this out. Without MidiBox, it's... turn on MidiBox, and you have a lovely... And let's exaggerate it a little bit. So you go to the pitch bend range, make it wider for the two of these guys so it's got more range to play with. And now... So many synthesizers have horrible EGs. Here you can make your own EG that you want. Now it's global, which means if you play these notes and play other notes, it gets a little funky. I also found that if you set it, like here it's mono trigger, new notes don't get the pitch EG. If you set it to one shot, this is a special mode that we have for MidiBox. With one shot, we designed it so that all notes played trigger it. So you could hold down notes and it could playing little harp arpeggiators and stuff like that. But it works for this too, where every note will re-trigger the pitch EG MIDI file, which is just, all I did is I went just wah with a pitch bend and saved it as a MIDI file. That's all. And if you want to hear something really funny, to hear how, you know, this is not perfect DSP, this is definitely a MIDI does a resolution stepping. So if you set this to low resolutions, that's the steps. But you can use it to your advantage. It sounds cool that way, I think. So you could set them at 2%. Set them both at 2%. Someone will do something with that because it's really fun. You can do that. But if you make it 100%, it's super nice and you combine that with real sampled brass and be like, oh boy, that's really nice. Here, let's do that. Let's go to the Discovery library. This is the BBC Discover. Let's hold down Shift and load the brass. So this is the orchestral brass. We'll see if it even works or not. Let's see, we need to go up an octave and then a lot softer. And maybe lose the delay. I think there's a delay in here. Yeah, so let's bypass these guys. And let's do this. Let's go over to auxiliaries, add. We have a new 4 set of reverbs. Let's go to the nice hall and do the natural string hall. Bring this up a little bit here, and then a lot more on the, not on the orchestral brass because they have ambience in them already, but for the new ones. Let's turn, I did the wrong thing. I need to turn these down. There we go. I'm about to get it right. Let's turn these down even softer so it just becomes more of a component in the mix. And then if you brought your sampling pitch bend to not be quite so strong, let's say 6 or so, this would give it that range so it's more natural. I went a little drastic so you could really hear what it does. That's nice. So I should also put in the chat the Discover Station, this Discover Station bonus library. If you own the BBC Discover library from Spitfire, I've made a little bonus library with these 5 patches, and they are lovely because they do stuff that the BBC plugin can't do. So let's copy the link, copy the Dropbox link. These are 2 bonus libraries for Unify. So let me move my microphone for a second, get out of the way here so I can go. BBC Discover, library by, and here's the link. it requires you to own the BBC Discover library, which is a lovely little orchestral plugin. The thing is, the way that let's see if we go init and we say, go to favorites, because I happen to have it right here. It's this plugin for $49 that gives you just a wonderful series, all the string sections, all the brass sections in red, all the woodwind sections in blue. You've got tuned percussion of harp, celeste. You have more tuned percussion of xylophone, marimba, glockenspiel, and tubular bells. And then in the middle, you have, oh, these are timpanis and stuff like that. Tuned percussion and untuned percussion somewhere. Where's, oh, untuned percussion, here we go. All the stuff. So what's cool with this is you can say, you know, violins and have these beautiful. Now, these are not the round robin. They've got more expensive versions of this, which get into more samples. But it's just a really nice basic orchestra that just, it's nice. But you can only load one of these at a time. Right? Now, what I'm showing you, you can do with any string orchestra library you own. So if you have some of the bigger libraries that are contact libraries, you can make yourself this exact same thing where you use multiple copies of Contact and set them up and have them play. Contact has a multi-mode in it, so you can actually do it in Contact. But it's cool to do it here. You could save it, and each layer is talking to a separate core, so it's actually more optimized. But this is playing all 5 of those string sections. You've got expression. And you have control of the volumes, everybody. So I want the cellos to be louder. You could actually go through and record each of the sections, recording volume if you wanted to by just moving the controller, recording it into your sequencer so the section's breathing and being more dynamic. But the bonus library gives you these patches which load up all 5 of the strings, the woodwinds, and brass. And then the full orchestra is all 15 instruments simultaneously. And then the full orchestra and grand piano is the Steinway Church Grand, along with everything else. Right? And then once I have CloudCity out, I'm going to be making a full library for this plugin because there's so much you can do. And I love orchestral stuff. And to have the timpanis with the brass, with this marcato string type of things, piccato, I guess is what they call them, but the faster attack strings, and saving those as patches that you can call up will be really fun. I made one patch. I showed it last week. This is using the MidiBox to play all these different parts in like a little, here if we go over here, it's like play C. From a $49 plugin, that's pretty impressive, right? And then up here, I have some work to do. There's something not quite right. But anyway, you get the idea. You can actually open up the strings, and there's a second sequence part, and the percussion, there's a second sequence part here, which I will turn into stacks in the future so that go to the velocity of the drums. Bring down the strings. We even have an option to turn it from being looped. Turn this off and it turns off the loop. It shortens everything, the length of this MIDI file. So it's now, oh. I think it works only with the first, let's see, go revert, changes to loop. Yeah, the other one has more notes playing and notes held over, but just a one shot now. Pretty fun. So this will be a much bigger library that I will sell once it is done, where I've got like with synth things and all the, it's just gonna, I can't wait. I love that kind of stuff. I haven't done a library like that because I haven't had access. Omnisphere has no brass whatsoever. It's got one string patch type of a thing and then some alternate string type things, but nothing like an orchestra like this. So it's really fun to do something for something like that. Can't wait. So we just started our tour. My God, we got sidetracked so easily. On top of MidiBox, we have another thing called JitterBox. Let me show you that really quick. It's really fun. Those of you on your keyboards at home, you can call up Drunken or just type drunk and go to the standard library, and there's a patch called Drunken Piano. And this is all you need to know. Try to play this and you'll get right away. When you play chords, even if I'm playing solidly, they're broken. There's random timing because JitterBox has been given its maximum millisecond range of 150 milliseconds. Every note that comes in, even in a chord, each note gets its own certain random amount of delay before it plays. And that can be shortened. If you shorten it, you get more like a flamming, like motiony thing. It's great for hip hop, all that kind of stuff. Things where you want the timing to not be quite right. Anytime you're dealing with timing like drums, let's go over here to something like, let's do this. Where can we show this really easily? Well, actually I have a patch that shows this really quickly. And probably the fastest way to find this is go 1.1. There is a tag for 1.1 to show you all the new patches. These are all new patches included with Unify 1.1. So there's a lot of fun stuff to play with. If we go over here to BPM key, broken chords piano, this is one where there is a groove and then there is a piano. And let's go to the piano. And right here's the JitterBox at the top. Since there's two pianos, I put the MIDI effect for the arpeggiator and then it goes into JitterBox so that let's say 90. Then bring this up. And then put this on the drum groove too. We have a drum groove here. Go over here, go creative, and there's JitterBox. And not 150 milliseconds, but now it just gives everything some space to be imperfect. MIDI files, arpeggiator patterns can all be timing-wise massaged a little bit. When I'm sequencing parts for a lot of the stuff I like to do, I'll go to quantize strength and set it like about 70%. I don't like to quantize to 100%, unless it's drums for a librarian that needs to be so that it doesn't mess things up, stuff like that. So I should turn off my, I've got notifications flying everywhere, but I like to see when Shane messages me, so I better not get rid of it. What is pitch jitter for? Pitch jitter is random pitch of notes. And let's do it this way. Let's go just to piano. So we're going to mute the drums because they're here on this layer. So we're playing piano. Let's get our timing to be perfect. And then let's turn on pitch jitter. Every note is random. So if you want to do a Radiohead kind of a thing, all you have to do is go here and say duplicate. And oh no, it's too much work. But you do one layer where it's perfect and another where it's out, and do that. Now we have some cool controls here to limit this because there's a couple different applications for this. One, just to be out. Doing this on drums is really fun. So let's mute the piano part, go to the drums, and here we have inside of Unify, a Unify plugin of drums, right? So let's bring down the timing so it's better timing, so it's not quite so humanized. And let's duplicate this layer. And I'm gonna first go to MidiBox and I'm gonna change the root key so it plays at a higher pitch for this other layer. Oh, what's going on? It's playing solo this part for a second. I don't have note center going on, so that means this doesn't matter. If you don't have note to chorus, anywhere playing on the keyboard is the same pitch, so that means you'd go just to chorus. And let's change the tuning of this part just a little bit up. So now I have two things playing at once, one tuned up, right? So we can open up pitch JitterBox and turn on pitch jitter. Maybe I don't want it to, is this range that it's looking and that it's transposing to is wider than the range of the drums. The drum maps go from C1, so we're gonna limit it to only look to notes from C. What it listens to doesn't really matter since I just went to randomize everything. What does matter is the output range. Let's take this and set this to C1 and then the top to C6. And that way every note will be randomized to a drum sample in this map. And so now, yes. Right? So we have a cool bit of randomizing going on. What's fun with this is to have this happening and then add JitterBox. But instead of the random timing like this, we can actually go up here and set it to a timing value, like quarter notes. So it's a quarter note behind, right? And then we have these little scale markers here for changing the range of randomizing. So now it can randomize the whole range between a quarter note and no time of delay at all. So, and you get all sorts of crazy weird times, right? That's why we have this. This is to actually quantize the delay value to be either dotted, triplets and simple, dotted and triplet. We have all sorts of combinations. This is the one for simple, dotted, and triplets. If you just say simple time, it will now limit itself to this scale amount. And we put in a threshold so you could stop it so it doesn't play 32nd note and 64th notes if you don't want to. And now you have just this really cool random timing that can be happening. I could go over here, I could use a different kit. So I could go into a whole different, go to a whole different library. Oh, you know what? That's what it is. This is a recycle file. That's why I'm like, this isn't working as I would expect, and it's because it's a recycle file. My bad. Let's do this. Let's do this really quick because you got to hear how this works. So let's option click to get rid of that drum groove and go BPM drum. And if we're in the standard library, oh, BPM crumb. Nice, John. Drum. These things that say drum kits, let's hold down shift. And I'm going to hold down, if you look right here, there's one additional option that says no pitch shift. That's the version I want to load. This takes out the pitch shift in drums. So by loading that, and I'm going to open up this and let's go to the patterns. There's a whole bunch of patterns in here. Let's go to another one that's fun. So this will make more sense. I'm sorry, that was confusing because it was a recycle file, which means it's just playing chromatically up the keyboard to play drum samples that came from an actual audio loop. It's a whole different thing than a drum kit. So this is a drum kit, which if I turn this off, I have kicks, snares, the standard MIDI map here, all the way up the keyboard, right? So this will make a lot more sense. I'm sorry about that. That was not intended. So we're playing a groove. Let's duplicate this again. And this time we're going to go to Guru Sampler and tune it up. So we say chorus up. Then let's turn on JitterBox for this second layer. And we can use pitch jitter. And now you hear every note playing different drum samples because it's a drum kit. And it's still going too far in the range because I actually have, yeah, it doesn't work because of the reason. So you go C1, you have to click and drag this. MIDI effects get kind of weird once they're put. If I hold down, this will actually, it's getting the MIDI note data from the MIDI file. See that? I'm not doing anything but playing the pattern, so that's not helpful. We'll have this go up to C6, and now every note is playing a sample, and it's limited and constrained to only the notes that have drum samples. So if I had a shaker map, what I do is I have maps with just a whole bunch of different shaker samples. You'd set this so it is limited to the range of samples, because one thing that we have right next to this that you see is a percentage, and I love this. So here's 100%. Crazy every note. Right? All over the place. Bring down this percentage to like 5%. And just every now and then it will pop in something weird. Even on piano and keyboard melodic parts, it's really fun to play with just a small percentage of jitter. You bring this up higher, right? Now this is currently still playing the pattern just like, you can actually, if I bring this down to 0, that's the pattern, right? Well, you can use randomize here, and then you can use this jitter timing, and instead of being millisecond based like this, where it's just weird stuff, right? It gets kind of, if you love that stuff, God bless you, go for it. It's not my cup of tea. So you can go over here and you can set it to a timing value like this and give it to the whole range and just say simple times. And now it's going to do random time. Well, here, let's turn off random first. So it's just the groove with the parts delayed. Right? But it's playing them at different times because this random is randomizing the timings, and then you add some timing, actual sample note changing too. And if you put it on a sample map of something different, it can get to be all sorts of anything else to do with stuff. So, hopefully this helps you guys see that. This is a known issue. So that's JitterBox. So we have MidiBox, JitterBox. They work so well together. Super cool and powerful. On top of this, let's go to piano. I have so many things to show you. My gosh. Yeah, we're running out of time. Let's say, hold down, get this off so we can just say piano like this. And let's bring this up so we can hear it. We have a whole bunch of new reverbs. And so we actually have layer presets for these reverbs, but we also have something kind of cool I can show you. So let's go Dark Hall. This is the Dragonfly Hall. All of these that say Dragonfly are new presets that I created for this. Let's say Natural String Hall. If I mute this, no reverb. Now, we also, if you open up these plugins, there's a preset list up here. The last day, we quickly, because I wanted it to be called up with a preset that sounded nice. And the way to do that was to actually add a new bank. So I took some of these presets that you saw from that layer preset list, and we recreated them as presets inside of the plugin. So when you call up the plugin, you can go to these. And now, because this is an auxiliary bus, you want to turn down the dry and you want to turn up the late. And these are color-coded knobs. If you hit the little question mark, you can see that there's certain groupings. The things that control the filtering or the sound of the reverb are orange. So if I change the high cut, I can darken, low frequency, clean up the reverb. So these are all EQ parameters. Size, this controls the actual shape of the reverb. So the size makes it actually stretch out the early reflections. There's actually a separate volume right here for what I call early reflections. That's supposed to be the sound hitting hard surfaces. And as you change the size, they actually change until they stretch out really far. And then you have the late level, which is the reverb level. So you can get more interesting stuff in your reverb. Really, really nice. Okay, so there's Dragonfly Hall. If we go over here and call up the presets for the room, we made presets for the reverb room. Let's say tall, gigantic room. And for these to work really right, you want to, oh, these are set up right because they're layer presets for auxiliaries. So dry level is down, late level is up. This is using some of the spin and the wonder to put a little bit of uniqueness to the sound. If you turn these off, it's back to just being normal reverb. So the purple give you the chance to add modulation and motion to the reverb. Really nice. So these 4 reverbs bring us up to a grand total of 10 different types of reverb inside of Unify. Just so we're clear, we asked for a very reasonable price for this. We keep adding things to it. We keep it at a reasonable price and add more to it because we want everybody to own this. This is something everybody can benefit from what Unify brings to the plugin world. So we're trying to make it so that there's more and more and more value added to Unify. It just keeps getting to be a sweeter pot, you know? Now, another thing that we added, as you can see, is graphics. We can now add graphics. This has all sorts of images. If you go to the different types of these types of pianos, I have different images that I use for those. Some things are still just default, but the way it works with graphics is really cool. If you go over to the Unify folder for libraries, and you go, let's say, to CloudCity, which has a whole bunch of different, there's a folder called Media. So if you make a Media folder inside of your library, and then you look at the patch names, and anything that has a patch name, just copy that, create a graphic image that's 96 by 96 pixels, and give it the same name as the patch, and put it in the Media folder. And then when you call it up, if we go over to CloudCity, most everything here has some sort of a MIDI, an image that I have attached to it. So you can, like these haven't, so it goes to the default library for the way that it looks. Sonny, we got to get a picture of your bell piano, the thing that we sampled. This is, Sonny played this in Arizona. Right? But anything that has, you know, all these have different images for the drums. These are recycle files using MidiBox. If you turn MidiBox off, you have to play. Right? But then the MIDI file for this will play it. So it works. CloudCity is coming Friday. This coming Friday, CloudCity will be released. It keeps growing. It's got so much cool stuff going on. But I have this week I get to focus. I needed last week to really focus on getting the update out and making sure that it was really supported nicely with patches and all that stuff. But now we'll be cleaning up everything here. Was there an option, click to save the layer settings, but change the pitch? Not to save, but to load. How do you add your description in the description panel to a self-made patch? You hit the save button, and here's all the description is right here, the comment. And then anything you put here, we have the library name and the author. So whatever the author is here will show up here. And the library name is the name of this folder that contains the library. So you can put any comments you want. Save as is to save a new patch. And so it should have a different name than the name that you have inside of Unify so you don't get duplicate errors and stuff like that. Save is if you're just updating. Option click save is a fast way to update a patch you've already started working on that you've saved. And you just want to quick, if I'm working on this and I change the levels are a little hot, so I change it down a little bit. If I hold down option and click, I have updated that file and saved it again. I don't have to go to any menu. There's not even a quick save or anything like that. It's just option click to save, okay? This CloudCity looks and sounds cool. Yeah, it's a fun library. It's a whole lot of things. I'll take a minute just to explain what it has. It has 2 different hip hop kits. If we go drum kit, one of these I create, and there's a down tempo kit and there's a real percussion kit too. The down tempo kit started as being one of those from Super Macho drums, and then I resampled everything because I wasn't happy with the sound. So you can go over here and play the MIDI files. If you click here, these are all MIDI files for the down tempo kit. All sorts of cool stuff. So many patterns. Right? Okay. So there's that kit. There's the hip skip kit. If you slow down, this is more for chill and urban hip hop grooves. And I need to make a folder that's going to have all this stuff. I have a single drum grooves folder here. Right? So all sorts of stuff. For everything you hear on the radio, we have new sounds for you. Cool stuff. And then there's a guy named Mel Chaos. His name's Chaos, that is a producer and a sound designer and rhythm cat. And he's made some cool grooves, and he made a drum kit that has some just really, really wicked grooves. I need to actually, this is stuff I haven't had a chance to update since I organized things a little bit. If we go out of here to, I need to make a whole bunch more grooves for his drum kit, Chaos Iconic Grooves. Hard-hitting library. Like for this kind of stuff. Right? There's all sorts of sounds, cool kits. Right? So like Cloud Beat 1, I use this in a thing over here. I think this is in Cloud Hop. So here's that groove. Let's speed it up a little bit more. Here's how it sounds in the final groove. Oh, I didn't save this. Let me fix it. So we're gonna go over here. Needs to go to the chaos beat. See, it's missing it. So go load. Here, chaos beat. One. Now, on top of all the drums, you hear cool basses. There's a whole bunch of sub basses I sampled and vocal chops. So you have these types of things. There's all sorts of, like this is using the LFO tools for so there's all sorts of hip grooves. There's like as you see, the graphics change for each thing. There's Nighthawk, which is a faster one, so. And you start to hear percussion because on top of all this other stuff with the kits and the vocal chops, I recorded like 30 different percussion instruments. So we have buffalo drums, which sound really cool. Huge. A cajon I just sampled. I think I made a whole bunch. Oh, these are just ancient drum grooves. Okay, so I have to make a whole bunch of grooves. This is what I'm doing this week. It's like I got done recording my cajon. There's maracas, both and rain sticks, both as shakers and long samples, claves, tons of shakers, and there are multiple samples across the keyboard. Instead of putting them all onto like 2 samples and then round robin and stuff. And then there's folders which have literally tons of shaker patterns and all sorts of stuff. And you can get some really cool patterns going here. And then if you put all this together, the shakers, the triangles, and all that stuff, these are grooves using all of that together. And then one of our customers, Sunny, I haven't announced what the price will be for CloudCity yet. $49 is the retail, but it will be a little bit discounted to start, just to give you guys a little bump. But it's a huge library. There is so much to it. Flutes. I can go over here and change from flute type from playing to phrases. Okay, hope John can demo of use of keytar. I don't have a keytar, so I can't demo a keytar, Ivar. Sorry. So there's so much to this. And then actually this library started with me recording with the tongue drum, which are these really cool, these guys. And so they're, in here. With as well as with Mega Magic, so they ring out with reverb in the samples, which is super, super cool. I did performances with them, so if you go BPM Bell, these are all these Goldfinger. That's really nice to say. Your dog objects to him. That's cute. And then if you take something like this and you use it in creative examples, this is using an arpeggiator now to change the notes of one of those recycle files for a really cool, unique sound. Add a groove. Fun stuff. As I mentioned, we have vocal chops. So down at the end of the list here are like 23 different chops. And I have to make leads and chords and stuff. You can take any one of these, play it as a lead. And if I go over here, I can pop up and play all of the samples. I have a customer that works as a composer with kids for opera, rock operas and stuff. And so this is just a start. We'll be doing more libraries like this in the future. But that's just a monophonic lead. This is kind of processed for more of a dance production with longer reverb and PumpHouse. As well as for chords. So there's all sorts of different examples. There's voice in there, but it's a cool synth sound too. So it's all sorts of all over the place things for modern productions, for chill, down tempo, ambient, urban, the stuff you're hearing on the radio. This can do super well and have lots of fun, new things. There's cool sound effects like, right, wind. My goodness, where is... There's, oh, these are my inventions. This is based on a pop song that's on the radio, so I think it's like 90 beats per minute. So you have things like this to play with. I have to show you, I love these. These sub basses came out so killer. Just huge, huge sounding. Just take up the entire spectrum of sound. It's wonderful. Doing one shots. This is something we can do with MidiBox now that's really cool. This is really fast arpeggiators. So this is something we'll be showing off in this library. Here's Tinkerbell. And if you take this Cloud, I have one BPM split patch I made so far using this. It's really cool. This is Twilight, which is right here. So here's... So you can do things like this that are really cool. Okay, so fun stuff like that will be coming in CloudCity using all of the abilities of JitterBox and MidiBox, tons of samples. all that kind of stuff. It's going to be a really fun library that will be coming out this coming Friday. So I get no sleep until Friday. Now the roll percussion, I showed you the grooves and stuff. There's also a drum kit. To show you everything that's included with this library. And I've got MidiBox set up to play grooves. You do stuff like this. So this is all the new percussion coming in this library. Really cool stuff. Let's see. If you wanted to audition different library sounds but keep everything in the layer like a custom effect. You wanted to audition different library sounds but keep everything in a layer. Yes, you can do stuff like that. Remember that the key zone stuff, the map for high note, low note is retained inside of the patches, but when you load a new Unify, it's across the whole keyboard. So say we were to start with this. I would right click and I'd say I want this to be on C. I need to open up MidiBox and tell the root key to also be C. Let's set this to latch mode and turn it on. Now you can load additional patches. You'll be auditioning them while you're doing things though. So I could go over here, I hold down Shift, say load this. And then you need to look at your settings down here. We have a transport, right? And we have different modes for triggering and we have a different key ranges. So because this is set to MIDI restart, if I call it MidiBox, you can see it. Each time I play up here, it restarts. It restarts my groove. I don't want it to do that. So what you can do is you can right click and set the keyboard range for the transport. So it's only listening to the keys of down here on C. So now when I play up here, it gets added to it. But the one has already been decided by this sound down here. That's one. And if this sound's not working, I can hold down Option, remove it. I could go over here and choose something else. Say I want to add more percussion, so I'm going to go over here and add Sacred Earth. Go over here to some splits. So I could say here's some of the other splits that are inside of this library. Load Hazy Love. Right? So you can add things in Audition this way. I don't know if that's I don't know if that's what you're asking for, you know. What was it that Ableton couldn't do with Type 1 MIDI files? Hey, good question. That's right where we're heading. So over here in the standard library, I have some examples of some BPM groove stuff that's pretty cool for you to play with. Go to BPM Drum. Let's say we go to Drummer Frenzy. This is probably the coolest, deepest thing I've done yet with MidiBox. Let me show you a picture, give you the whole demo spiel. So this is a file of what I created. It's using, there's 4 drum kits inside of Unify when you buy Unify. There are new drum kits coming with CloudCity, but there's 4 already inside of Unify. And we have enhanced rhythm considerably. And so one way to do this was each of these columns is a groove. And then I have remapped, like if you look at this note, it's really clear. This groove, different notes had to be shifted around so that the different kits could play the groove and sound the way I wanted it to sound. All right. So I have all these MIDI files that I've spit out as separate MIDI files. We're going to do this actually in a minute with the grooves I just gave you guys in the library that's for free. If you looked at the chat description, this is a little library called, I haven't put that in yet. So here, I think I did at the very beginning of the discussion, but I haven't put it into here. There's all sorts of free things you guys are getting today. This is pretty cool. Dropbox link. This is, so it's, my microphone's right in the way. So we'll go over here and say, this is called the PlugInGuru. I think I called it JamStation, right? Yeah, JamStation bonus. And the link, I'll put it into the chat description so you, for the video description. It's a Dropbox link, and this will help you download. Oh, let's see. I got rid of that right here. Let's see, we'll close, get this over here for the moment. So if we go over here, so that 4 drum kits, we'll get to the thing I just gave you the link for. Download that and install that. Oh, good night. Everybody's going to bed. Was it something about MIDI and MIDI? No, what it has to do with is this. I'll show you Drummer Frenzy in a minute. What happens with Drummer Frenzy is I have set this up with stacks already on this knob. What happens if you look in MidiBox, we have the ability to have multiple tracks in a single MIDI file. You have to be able to save a MIDI type 1 to do this, and Ableton Live cannot do this from what I understand. Logic Pro can, so I can show you that. But what this allows you to do is, as I play a groove, I'm going to play one note, this huge groove, right? When I spin pattern, oh, shrink this a little bit so we can get the two to be seen. This is changing this pattern to be different patterns. Right? So it's pretty cool to be able to do this. Right? And then to make this really crazy and like show what you can do, like, oh my God, look at all the stuff you can do. I have 4 drum kits playing at once right now. They're all playing. See, they're all lit up. Kit select lets you choose just 1, 2, 3, or 4, which is the vintage kit. So you can spin between this and then the patterns to get all sorts of different groove variations and stuff happening. This is in the factory voicing for the standard library. Just look for Drummer Frenzy under the BPM category, right? And then speed, like we showed earlier with the LFO. I have 4 kits and some are changing speed, some are not, so. So you can change speed and the pattern. Whenever you go back to 0, it's on perfect sync. I can't mess it up. right? So that's the power of having type 1 files. I can change all these different patterns with a parameter, a real-time modulating parameter. So you could have a song where you're changing from the verse and all the MIDI files are playing the first stack thing that's the verse parts. And then when you change to a different layer, it could be to the different section of the song. So you could have it be a song where you're in control of when it goes from one part of the song to the next part. So the library that I gave you the link to, this little Discover JamStation right here, the PlugInGuru JamStation, there's 2 files. It's not a huge deal, but just to have you something that could load up the new drum kit. This is JamStation without the MDM, means it's using the built-in drum kit that's play low C. If you go to the one that says MDM, this is calling up the VST version. So you have to have Unify sing the VST version of the Mega Drum Machines. And there's 3 ways to get that. If you just downloaded this plugin, the 3 ways to get it into Unify is to go over here and say scan for new or updated plugins for VST, because if you're using audio units or VST3 and you don't want to have all the VST scanned, then you have a couple other options. You can use select plugin files to scan, and this will let you go to your folder, say VST Mega Drum Machines, and say open, and that will scan it just like that. And then the other way is to open up the actual VST folder on your Finder of your computer, go down to M for the Mega Drum Machines and drag it into the known plugin list, and that's the other way to get a plugin known inside of Unify. And by doing that, you now have Mega Drum Machines, which has volume and pan for 5 different sound sections, the snares, hi-hats, cymbals, so you can bring down the hi-hats, bring up the kick, set it where you want. Click right here, there's over 130 drum kits. Some don't have a lot of samples. Most don't have a lot of samples. But there's some cool, I love the Rat Man. Remember that? Simmons. Sequential Circuits Toms. I used to work with the Yamaha RX-11. Here it is. Right? So there's all these things. I liked, what was one that I liked? The Denon one. I just love that snare sound. It's really cool. It's like a more hip version of an 808. Okay? So this MIDI box is playing this groove, and I can click here. I can change it this way. I can also use the plus and minus. Right? But if I want to modulate this, where I'm modulating it with the parameter on a knob, I need to turn it into a stack so that I see multiple tracks, because these MIDI files only contain that one track of MIDI data. When I load up each one of these, when I click here, it's only that one thing that has the note data is there. Low C is what starts and stops these with this JamStation preset. And if I want to have all of those play, what I have to do is this. I'll show you how you make a type 1 MIDI file. We have to do some research to see what other, if there's any auxiliary options beyond, because I know Logic can do this. I don't know others that can do this or not. So let's do this. Let's clean this up a little bit. So we just have Unify, and then I'm going to go to the folder that has, let's see, let's go out of this library, and we need to get into the bonus JStation, right? To the MIDI files. And there's 10 of them. So I'm going to select each one and drag them over to an empty spot here. 1, 2, 3, And each one is showing up on MIDI channel 1, you can see, right? For if it's empty, 5. Yeah, okay, that's fine. 5, 6. Now I named the files in the Finder with the number. You see the actual track names don't have that, but we can fix that. 7, 8. Oh. Oh, it's asking me more questions. 8. Let's see, do I have? I think that's right. 8. Let's see, so what happened? So 8 is Pop on the 4. 9 is Shogun Smile. And then 10. Let me make sure that I have this 1. I don't know why it keeps doing that. They were all saved at basically the same time. It's pretty funny. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The next thing I want to do is I want to make sure they're all the same length. So I'm going to hold down Option and drag to make copies of each of these. And then Command J on each one of these to join them. So that way these are all one file for each track. And then I'm going to stick in a little name here. Let's see. So I'm going to say 01 right here, 02. Because this is how it's going to show up as track names inside of Unify when I'm done. 3. Click here, 04. The trick is this. They have to be all on the same MIDI channel. See how these are all set to MIDI channel 1? When you spit out a MIDI file and they're all on MIDI channel 1, if you have a system that knows how to make a type 1, it will make them separate tracks. Ableton Live just merges them all together so that apparently it doesn't sound good, right? If they're all merged together. 6, 7, 7, 8, 09, and then 10. So by doing this, selecting all of these, going under here and saying export as a MIDI file, and let's call this the JamStation stack. And by doing that, it makes a single MIDI file that now when I get rid of these, bye-bye, and I don't need these tracks anymore. In Unify, let's do this. I'm going to move, because I'll give you guys this file. Let's drag this into here. Let's give it a name so it matches with everything else. MDM. Oh, wait. MDM. Okay. So when I go to Unify to MidiBox, and I go here to select the MIDI file, I now have the stack. And by selecting that, boom, I now have 10 tracks inside of this patch that I can now go. It's just a simple matter of going over here to the knobs. I've been defaulting to knob number 8. Go linked parameters. Oh my gosh, it's so late. And go to the drum groove part, MIDI effect, and say track number. It's the top thing on the list. So by doing this, when I am playing this groove, I can change to any of those grooves on the fly. So if you have MIDI files that are intros, jams, fills, and endings, you could put up to 120. Actually, I think it's 255, although I don't know how that works when you have a controller that only goes up to 128. But you can set it up to where on this knob it spins through all of those different grooves that you might have loaded, so you can cycle and do a whole song production just by changing to different patterns. So it's pretty cool. It's a cool way to use MIDI files, so you're not sticking it just into that, because now you can also interact with timing things and have the velocity to the MIDI files being changed. All sorts of stuff can be modified. So it's pretty cool. So let me give you guys this MIDI file. I'm going to go up here to, let's just do this. I'm going to compress it really quick and go like this, and then copy that link, and then go over here and I'll paste it. Paste. Okay. And let's go down here, JamStation bonus, and I got to say also the JamStation MIDI file stack. It's right there. And let me get that to its own separate line. So in the video chat, in the description, there's a whole lot. My goodness. So yeah, there's 4 things that we have put up for free today for you guys as support. So for those of you that don't have a sequencer that can do this, I think there's some smaller sequencers. I believe Reaper can do this, and that's a free sequencer, right? Oh, there you go, GN1. Great. That's good to know, Richard. Thank you. All right. So when playing live, you can jump between verse, chorus, bridge as much as you like, whenever you like, and the rest of the band will hate you. Bye, Ken. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Let's wrap up. We went 30 minutes extra because there's so much going on, and I wanted to be here and help all I could to make sure you guys understand what we can do. There's so much more to the list that we've added. My goodness. I showed you all the link parameter things that we can do that are super fun here on the link parameter pages. Like I made a link parameter here. What's cool with this is you actually hear, if I go to the groove, as I change this value for the track number, you actually hear the result. If this is filter cutoff, you'd hear the brightness of the filter as you're changing the intensity of it. That this is the intensity that this knob is going to eventually get to. So when you're doing real-time controllers, this is something I haven't seen anywhere else. It gives you real-time feedback. It's wonderful. So like say we had filter on the drums, right? So let's go over here. Oh wait, this isn't, let's do this. Let me save this because we have the piano. So it's working, right? So save. Then I just need to go to the JamStation regular one, open up MidiBox, call up the stack, open, close, open up this knob controller, and I want to assign from part 1 MidiBox track number and save. So check this out. I'm going to go to Guru Sampler. I'm going to filter it with a low pass filter, bring down everything so it's really dark. Right? So I'm going to have it so that as I change through the patterns, it's also going to get brighter. So I want to go over here to that instrument. Here's the plugin, filter cutoff. Now, when I click right here, I can hear in real time where I want it to start and where I want it to end. So now as I move this, it's also filtering, and you can hear the results. That type of feedback is something I have never seen anywhere else in all my years of programming. You've never been able to hear the intensity. Some things you could do real time where you set the mod wheel at max, and then you put in the intensity and it will hear it, but not like this where it's just clicking and dragging without having to move a mod wheel or something to hear the result. So that is a game changer for me as a programmer. I absolutely love that. We have smaller circles and things like that in PumpHouse. So when you're looking at this, it's not bigger knobs, they're smaller. And also if you hold down Option and drag, it only goes up and down on the Y-axis. It's not moving like this to change the timing. It's not going to do that now. It's up and down when you hold down Option. So we have things like that we've added. Built-in Unify is super cool. That's just the ability to hold down Shift and load something, and it's right there to work, which is super fun. Another thing that we added that's really cool is we have a built-in SFZ and sound font player on instruments. This lets you load your own samples in. So if I go over here, movie dialogue, I have these libraries over here. Stop. So I can go to these really cool libraries that I bought and go to SFZ format, American Family. And
good luck, guys.
How did that get in there?
How's it going? And the pictures you get are just beautiful.
Well, let's watch and see.
I don't know. Looks pretty deep.
Or else if I want to do to Monster.
I see what you mean. He's going to tell the newspapers. But even the impossible can happen.
So you can use those. They're license free, ready to be used, I believe, from my understanding. SFZ. Let's just look on sample. I have a ton of SFZs, so I can say there's 2100, 2400 to choose from. So let's go to this list, and I can just drag over let's see, what do we got here? I think these are from various libraries I've done. Here's like Solaris. So if I think I can take these guys and say Solaris and drag right here. No, it won't. It'll let me drag to there. There. So you can load in anything that you turn into a sample SFZ map. The only problem is we don't have envelope controls yet. Stuff like that. Mike Croc has a question. Let's see what's going on. Why can I not point my instruments when I want to create? I have to go eat. Okay, that's fine. Cool. Why can I not point my instruments when I want to create a new letter? I don't understand what that means. Can you explain why can you not point? Yes, so SFZ import is really cool. For those of you that want to get your drum samples and all sorts of things in there, that is totally something you can now do. It's a way to get sounds into Unify so you can use them with a MIDI file player and stuff like that. But I don't understand, Mike, what you mean by point. Mock, Croc. Cannot point to instruments. I don't know what cannot point means. When I create a new layer right here, this isn't showing up. Make sure that when you update and install Unify, you do the updater and then you drag over the .guru file to give you all the settings. But you're going to have to send me an email. Cannot find my instruments. So if you go to your plugin list, if this is, you're talking about your plugin list is blank, then would go over here and just scan again to have it update and show you your instruments, or drag in the ones that you want. If it's a bigger problem than that, then send an email to me, just unifysupport@pluginguru.com, and we will help. So Ableton doesn't have a problem playing the files. It doesn't have a problem playing MIDI files. I mean, Ableton can play MIDI files. The challenge with MIDI files is the type 2. Where do RX files go? So MIDI files, that's, you guys are asking good questions here. No, all instruments are there, but yes, that's not showing up. Where are my, yes, that's not showing up. So this is not showing up. It should show up. Like I said, drag over the .guru file that comes with Unify 1.1. It's a separate one it's been updated, and that's will get you all the new patches. You must know where you place your VST instruments files on your computer. That's probably part of the problem. If you're on a PC, the plugins can be in different locations, right? Stuff like that. He means that when you select a plus layer, you only have access to built-in instruments. If you want to use another VST, oh yeah, so okay. So when you go to add instruments, this is not the list with all your plugins. These are presets that I have made that are included for the plugins that come with Unify. If you say empty instrument layer, or you start with the first one and click right on this little bullet, swap all instruments shows you your plugin list of what plugins you have scanned into Unify. okay? If you want to make your own presets so that they show up in this list, then you have to make them, because I don't know what plugins you have. But if I wanted to say that I go over here and inside of the user library, I had created, let's say with a clavinet patch, right? So here's a clavinet. I want to be able to call this up quickly as a new layer anytime I want. So I go to the little bullet, say save layer preset, say new folder, Arturia, R-A-R-T-U-R, clavinet V, let's say, right? And this is my funky get down clav. Okay? By doing that, and only because I did that, when I go to add layers here, I now have a folder where I have a preset that will load up the clavinet, right? You don't want to do it there, actually. If you're doing it to the first layer, you actually want to go over here and say replace. And now you can replace this layer and it will get you to the same results of. Okay? Hopefully that explains that question. Oh, okay. Yes, you have to open an empty layer, or just when you're on an init patch, click right here on the bullet. This is where you get to the actual plugins that Unify is looking at that are on your computer that you have scanned into Unify. If you have not scanned anything into Unify, then this would be a much smaller list because it will only show the ones that come with Unify. It will still show some, but it won't show, if you own Massive, it won't show up in the list until you go to the plugin list and you say scan new VST plugins, or you use this to select plugins to be scanned. These up here, these are presets, and these are presets that I made for the things that come with Unify, right? For Guru Sampler to get you going with just, boom, I'm quickly going in a certain direction. But to get to your own plugins that you own, that's done differently. That's by init, click the bullet and go to all instruments, and now you see all your plugins, okay? Yes, I'm glad to show that, yeah. So these are layer presets that have been created. Different plugins, as you can see in the future, we actually can have presets separated so you don't see them from the factory patches. If I go over here to like melodic MIDI files, this can now load, let's go to idea like 4, bass. Let's get rid of the sine wave. Now I'm gonna go over here and say PlugInCity, CloudCity, melodic bass 4. Let's get the chords. This can load a MIDI file into MidiBox. You could have JitterBox, you could have your favorite arpeggiators, the instrument and effects, all saved now as a preset. Melodic MIDI, idea 4. I wrote these songs. They come with CloudCity. This is loading 4 layer presets, right? So a layer preset consists of, now it can consist of a MIDI effect or effects, because you can continue to add as many. I have all sorts of third party. I could add Cthulhu. I could add whatever I wanted to here and save it as a layer preset. These are so you can call up quickly and easily. And at first I thought this was the only way we were going to get the ability to do the separate things, but then we came up with the idea of being able to hold down shift and just clicking on a freaking patch and it loads the whole patch. And it's like, it's far easier than even patches, but patches are still really useful and really nice. But when you're first starting out, these layer presets that you see, these are ones I've made. You're welcome to make a serum folder, make a massive folder, make a pads folder, make a leads folder, put patches with the sounds, and remember that this now saves effects and MIDI effects. So you can say, I want it to be this piano, and let's see, let's get rid of this thing. So it's just piano, right? And I want it to have a nice reverb. So let's say that I have Dragonfly room. I can choose the preset I want it to be. And I want to have a little bit of chorus, or maybe let's say a little delay. So I could turn on delay, get this set the way I wanted it to be. So it's playing. and then save that as a layer preset, and it saves all of that to be called up instantly when you need it, when you're adding new layers right here. But you have to make those yourself. Those are, these are just calling up an instrument with no effects for the most part. Nothing too crazy for any of these guys. But they're there just for the generic sounds that are inside of Unify. If you want to go outside of that, you guys need to make those for your specific playground, because you all have a computer. It's a totally different playground than anybody else's. So your plugins that you have to work with, I can't make presets for something. I mean, I could, but it's just go through and call up your favorite pads and save them into one pad folder. And now you can quickly call up your pads as fast as you want. Okay. So, what was the name of that free round hand drum plugin you talked about a few months ago? Oh, that's the Able. I have it right here. It's really cool. Favorites, CloudDrum. It takes a minute to load, I believe. If you want to get this, it's the CloudDrum, right? So CloudDrum, and will that get me to Ample Percussion is the name of the website. Yeah, this is another wonderful one. Come here. Free. So you go amplesound.net, go to downloads, and here is free, and right here is the CloudDrum. Okay, and you can get it from, I guess, Plugin Boutique. So that's hosting it now. So you'd go there. It's a free product, and you can just download it. So it's pretty fun. So they also have their guitars, which are available and are being hosted on Plugin Boutique and Reverb.com. The guitar GM is really cool. Really wonderful. It's just be aware if we go to favorites, Ample Sound, Guitar GM Lite. Takes a minute to load the samples and. It's very nice. There's also a whole strumming engine. If you go into it, go to the strummer tab. Turn it on, and now you're you can make your own patterns. It's got a cool pattern editor here and stuff, so it's wonderful. Really cool stuff. All right. Well, CloudDrum, you know, you can't have enough really cool tongue drum samples, I don't think, right? Oh, okay. Unify is the best. Thank you, Reggie. Appreciate it. Free guitars are also great. Yeah, exactly. All right. So I think we will call it a wrap. Maybe one of the longest live streams yet. You look 5 years younger today than last week. Oh. Yeah. I'll tell you, man, it took a lot of work to get this done right. We were ready to release it on Monday night. And Shane, he's on the East Coast, so he's 3 hours ahead. And he doesn't stay up till the crazy hours like I do. So he was out of here at by 9 or 10 o'clock. I couldn't communicate with him. He's like, okay, I've uploaded the final files. Play with them, and I'll see you tomorrow, and it's going to be great. Yeah, so I was playing them, and it was crashing on a regular basis. And it was something that Shane was able to fix the following morning. Then we did a couple other things and ended up getting to where you can now go over here to the... So here's the thing. We've added supports that you can get Reason Studio to work as a MIDI effect. Now, to do that, you want it to show up in your MIDI effect list. So go to MIDI effects, go to all my MIDI effects, and say Reason, R-E, I can spell one of these days, R-E-A-S-O-N, Reason Rack. Oh, and it's only available as a VST3, and here it is as an effect. So we see it as an effect, so you can add that, add selected, and save. So now you can call up, let's say just the piano. Let's say go to the piano layer. So we go Guru Sampler Piano. This was added at the last minute, just before we got this out. So it's super cool. Go here, Reason Effects, and there's sequencers and all these really cool things inside of Reason Rack. And it shows up here showing you the effects and stuff like that. And so you can call up the presets and get it all working. I haven't even worked with it a lot here. Oh, this is showing us audio effects. No. I think, okay, so let's go back. I retract back. So let's go over here to MIDI effects. I'm going to get this to work before we go. Say Reason Effect, remove, Reason Instrument, add, save. And now when you add it to here and go all mine and go Reason Rack, it now shows where you can go to the sequencer stuff and get it to play. I believe the arpeggiators and stuff like that. Again, I haven't even played with this yet, so it's dangerous to do this stuff without working with it and seeing how it works and stuff. And then how would you add a device? You'd add instruments. This is one of those things I'll have to study and see what I need to do, but there's some way to get it to work as a MIDI effect, but it now works. It shows up as a MIDI effect and can be combined, I believe. So we have to test that. I haven't even tested that since it just came in. So how do I authorize a VST plugin that my Mac is blocking? Oh, the Mega Drum Machine. So if it's blocking, just right click on it and say open. If you right click on a file and it says right here, you can say open. That's the way to bypass Apple's wonderful, this is not recognized. You can't install this here. It didn't come from an app store. Just right click. Oh, what version of Reason? Talk about the coupon deal. Is that still going on? We do have a weekend promo code sale going on this weekend. 25% off any library at PlugInGuru. Let me give you the promo code is Unify. Love is in the air, I believe. Let me double check. Oh my gosh, you guys for sticking around are awesome. Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad you like these live streams. You can ask questions. That's what I'm here for. Each week I want to be available because there's so much we can do that I just, you know, it makes sense to be here and help out, right? So if we go here to there, to here, discount codes on my website. Yeah, Unify Love is in the air. Type that, all small caps, no large caps, one word, Unify Love is in the air, and that will save you 25% off anything at the website as far as patch libraries. Not for Unify. Unify is $79. It's worth way more than that. It will never go on sale. You will never have that bitter taste in your mouth from finding it for $29 someday after you've bought stuff. I hate that experience. I love buying stuff when it's cheap, sure, but still it's not cool. So that's not where I will ever be. So let's do our shout outs. I need to learn all I can. You're welcome, guys. You're welcome. Thank you all. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks for hitting the like button. Shout outs. Shout out from Portland, Oregon. You mentioned for me to not buy drums until the library coupon announcement. Greg, I don't even know what you're talking about. Talk to me by text. This isn't something to talk publicly on the chatter with world. I don't know what that's talking about. All right, we've got Germany, Stockholm. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Thorhammer. I love that name. Good to see you, Bernie. Greetings from Amsterdam. Hello, Amsterdam. Hello from Oxford. Awesome. Washington, D.C., of course. Good to see you. Bavaria, Seattle. Good to see you, my fellow neighbor. Virginia. Thank you, Harold. Good to see you, man. Where are you in Wales? I'm in Abergavenny. Cool. Shout out from Spain. Good to see you, Philip. Yeah, it's fun to soak in something new. There's so many capabilities. Make sure that you start with chapters 1 through 4. It's really fun. Let's see if we go all, let's just go to the standard library. Chapter 1. Then go to MIDI files evolve, and now you can play that same basic group as you can. Now you can play it on the keyboard. You can play chords. So polyphonic MIDI files. And then drums and rhythm will show you that we got into drums and rhythm pretty heavy with this update. You can go over here to the knobs. Make everything loose. Bring it up here somewhere and you got like people playing live. Okay, so crazy stuff. And then chapter 4, this will test your computer. This was our one that was our acid test. We had to be able to play this and not crash. This is, how many layers is this? It's 10, but inside of here is 1, and inside of here are 4. So it's 15. Right? So you do crazy stuff. Those 4 chapters kind of show you where we have gone with Unify 1.1. So, wow. 2 hours, 20 minutes. Thank you all for joining. It's been a pleasure to talk to you and to meet many of you and share and help educate. I'm here to just help make sure you guys, if you're familiar with Star Trek, I'm a very big Borg believer. It's like, I want everything I know to be shared with what you know, so that you guys are able to take what these can do, all sorts of things. If you ever have ideas or requests for certain plugins that you want to have further information on, because here, the philosophy is this is my core philosophy, is that you could have the most incredible architects in the room, give them all the same skills. They're all master builders of incredible skyscrapers and stuff, right? And if you look at their work, not one of them looks the same, right? They all have the same tools of knowledge, but it's not the same. So I think the tools to how to use this stuff is something we should all know, because what you're going to build is totally different than what I would build, which is totally different than anybody else in this list or anybody else in the world will build. So that is what the philosophy that drives me being here every Saturday. I want to share everything I know before I leave this mortal planet. I can share with you. And then you guys can take this and take it as far as you can. And then please share what you know with others when you can. And knowledge is something that shouldn't be exclusive. So I want you to know all I know with all this stuff, because you're going to do different things with it than what I'm going to do. And so I'm not threatened at all with somebody else knowing all sorts of cool tricks to do with their plugins, because what you're going to do, I want to hear. So go do it. Okay? All right. Hands together, head bowed. Sincerely appreciate the support you guys provide. Thank you to all of you. CloudCity on Friday. It's super cool, and it goes all over the place and other things to make life even richer. So thank you again. Be well. Yeah, the Unify Collective. You guys are awesome. I love my Unify family. So be well, enjoy, and we will see you next